And when it comes down to then
Man,
this is
shut the f up already, okay? We want to see some sample photos, okay? I want to pixel peep. I want to see the AF. Show us some footage.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Samuel here. Today I have a little lens review. This is the Viltrox 23mm F1.4 for Fuji on my X-H1. And so the backstory is I broke my Fuji 23mm F2 during a live stream. And it's still working, but the aperture blades are very sticky now and manual focus doesn't work. So Viltrox approached me and was like, do you want to try this lens? Do you want to review it? And usually I stay away from doing product reviews that I don't really want to use. But I was like, wait, I just broke my 23mm. I would need another one. And I heard good things about this lens. People say it's very sharp, wide open. I was like, why not? Send it to me. So as a little disclaimer, it was provided to me for this review. But I'm going to say you my honest thoughts. I'm also here in front of a protest, and I thought I was just to take some photos in real life, because you know you can look up data sheets and you can pixel peep online. I will although include some side-by-side comparisons with my 23mm F2 from Fuji, but this is also autofocus, and so far I think the build quality is very nice. Yeah, let's see if this lens is good enough for shooting protests. I will try to shoot wide open as much as I can. And later when we are back in my home office, I will give you my conclusions, what I liked, what I don't like. So stay tuned for that. Let's go. Change of plans, we had to get ice and the protest wasn't that interesting.
It was boring.
So we are going to the next one, because protests are happening everywhere. So
this year is going to be all protests for street photographers.
yeah.
That's all you can do. And masks and ice cream.
What's up? Okay, that will do it. I just jumped 5 times. Okay, I'm back from shooting and I want to give you my feedback on the Viltrox 23mm F1.4. First of all, I have to say I really enjoyed shooting it. When I first unpacked it, I thought it is a little bit too big and heavy. It's built out of metal, it has a metal lens hood. It actually feels very premium. The autofocus was fast enough for street shooting or documentary. Sometimes the autofocus would like jitter a little bit. It would be like, you know. But the image quality is really great. 1.4, very sharp, very sharp. The only downside is when you shoot 1.4, you get a lot of chromatic aberrations, you know, purple fringing. It's pretty bad on this lens. For me, it's not a deal breaker. It's not the end of the world. It's pretty bad, but acceptable, I would say. I think it balances very nicely on the X-H1. I'm sure on the XT2, 3 or 4, it's the same. I also really like the manual focus ring. It's very smooth, it's big, it's great for manual focusing when you shoot video. It has a very long focus throw, so it's not... personally, I like to have a shorter focus throw, because then it's faster to do like rack focusing, focus from object to object. With this one, I feel like you can really fine-tune it, but it takes a little longer from, let's say, infinity to close focus distance. Close focus distance. I will show you some examples. It's not short at all. I'm not sure about the numbers. I will put them here on the screen. But it's not great, and I actually filmed a YouTube video using this lens, and for product shots it's okay, but I had to crop in later because I couldn't get close enough. If you shoot 1.4 you can blow out the background, it looks beautiful for product video or product shots, but I always wanted to go closer and I couldn't. So this is the Viltrox 1.4 fujinon 23 F2. As you can see, the Viltrox is a little bit bigger, but it also has a bigger lens hood. And oh, the lens hood, by the way, feels super nice when you put it on. It's very nice. That's the stuff you have to experience yourself. Okay, the Viltrox is a little bit bigger. In terms of weight, I mean, I can show you the exact weight measurements here. But in terms of weight, I feel like they have the same weight. This is a very nicely made, I mean, is it nicely made? Because I dropped it and it's broken. But it feels nice and it has some weight to it. And this one, for its size, it feels light. But compared to the Fujinon, I feel like they have the same weight. So although this is bigger, if you're used to the small Fuji lenses, I think you will not notice a weight difference. And then of course we have a clickless aperture ring. Let's get the bad things out first. Why the hell is this a clickless aperture ring? But when you use it for video, which is the purpose of having a clickless aperture is to have a nice smooth transition from bright to dark by closing the aperture. With this lens, it still changes the apertures like electronically. You have some jitter in the frame. You can see how the camera is adjusting the aperture, and it's really annoying because this would be a perfect video lens. Like the focal length is nice, and I'm actually hoping to use this. I mean, I already made up my mind. I will use this for my YouTube videos, for filming, maybe even for my interview projects or following other photographers. This could be a great lens if I want to quickly grab some nice low light footage. For photos, it's not a big problem. I mean, you always have to look at the lens to see what aperture you are in right now. For me it's not a big deal, and some of you were asking also how about accidentally changing the aperture. It didn't happen to me yet. I feel like it's a little bit loose compared to, for example, I have a Camlen 28 that is very stiff and that I never bump it. This one I could feel like I don't know, I don't think you will hit it accidentally, but I know some people have this problem. For me it's not a big issue. Okay, Fuji weather sealed, of course, so this is a benefit if you are outdoors a lot, you want to shoot in the rain. This will be a better choice. Yeah, personally I would just be a little bit careful when you use this in the rain, just because it's it's probably more fragile than a more expensive lens. But for its price, I mean, it's like 300 something euros. It's a very good lens, and to give you a short conclusion here, I think I would definitely recommend it, and for me this will become my new YouTube autofocus lens, although the autofocus is not super great. But for example, when I give this camera to like a friend and ask him to film me, I can just stand and be confident that the autofocus will keep staying on me. I wouldn't use this for like tracking and following objects. That's not really the best lens for that. Also this one is not that great. Maybe it's different on like a newer Fuji body like X-T4 is probably a lot better than the XH1, so keep that in mind as well. And when it comes down to then
Man,
this is
shut the f up already, okay? We want to see some sample photos, okay? I want to pixel peep, I want to see the AF. Show us some footage!
we are back. So this was my little continuous AF and single AF test. So how do you think the lenses performed? I have to say the Viltrox was a little bit disappointing in terms of continuous AF video. For stills, I don't know which was better. The fujinon was pretty fast, but the Viltrox wasn't that bad either in stills mode. Although I have to say I was moving a little bit too fast maybe. For video though, I think the Viltrox is good enough for shooting like an interview, or if you're filming yourself for like a YouTube video, for example. I think it does a good enough job. The fujinon definitely focuses nicer, much more realistic. It does it in like one step. It does kind of look like someone is manually focusing, but on the Viltrox, the AF always came in like 2 steps. It was like, what? Oh, not quite there, and then, okay, now we are there. So for continuous AF for stills, I think it might be good enough, but not for very fast moving subjects. So personally, I would still use single AF all the time. Okay, now you saw the AF performance, and I think next we should look at image quality. And for that, I prepared a little blind test. So yesterday I went out and took the exact same photos using both of these lenses, and I'm going to show you a slideshow, but I'm not going to tell you which lens I used. So really this gives you an opportunity to look at, you know, distortion, color reproduction, micro contrast, sharpness, also field of view. It's not exactly the same. And for that I was using Film Simulation Pro VR, same white balance, same shutter speed, aperture, ISO. So really what you're going to see is the performance of these lenses. Yeah, let's see if you can guess them right. And after the slideshow I'm going to reveal which lens I used. So for that I have to blindfold you. No, not really. Okay, I'll see you after the slideshow. Oh, you're back. Okay. So how was it? Was it easy? Was it difficult? I think it was quite difficult. They looked very similar. One lens is definitely a little bit wider, and one lens is also definitely warmer than the other. But besides that, sharpness, contrast, saturation, they look very similar, and distortion was a little bit different. But overall, it was very hard to tell them apart, I think. But before we get to the reveal, this is just too good of an opportunity to pass on. Let me talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare has been a big support of my channel in 2019. We did some videos together, but then I had to, travel a lot because of the job project and other stuff. And then the lockdown happened and I had all this free time and I couldn't travel. That was actually a time where I watched a bunch of their classes. If you never heard of Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of classes ranging from illustration, graphic design, photography,
creative writing, animation, fine art, music production, film and video, marketing, productivity, freelance, entrepreneurship.
Whatever you want to learn, there's probably a class on Skillshare. Let me give you a little personal anecdote. For example, during the lockdown, I couldn't do my regular content. And I thought, why not start a podcast? And I actually recorded 3 episodes. And because I'm a very visual person and I don't really do audio that much, I was in desperate need of a tutorial. So I looked up a bunch of YouTube videos and tutorials, and they all give you, the informations you need, but you need to watch a bunch of them and then gather the informations that apply to you. And, people have different workflows, different setups. So it can be very time consuming. But then I found this great beginner class from John Lagomasino, How to Make a Podcast. which is made for absolute beginners, but it has some very great information. For example, I really appreciate that he talks about how to behave on a podcast, you know, the mannerism when you talk to a person, a guest, and you do an interview. For example, I tend to always do, yeah, okay, when I listen to someone, because I want to show them that I'm listening. It's very Japanese. But on a podcast, you don't really want to do that. You want to be quiet and let the guest speak. So I highly recommend checking out his class if you want to start a podcast. And if you want to learn more about street photography, they actually have a lot of street photography classes that I'm probably going to talk about next time. The premium membership gives you access to all the classes for less than $10 a month. And Skillshare is also providing the first 1,000 of my subscribers who use that link in the description a 2 months free trial of the premium membership. And 2 months is actually a very long time to learn something new. So you definitely should check it out. So thank you Skillshare for supporting my channel and making this comparison happen. So finally time for the big reveal. So which lens is lens A and which lens is lens B? I did this, but this is not lens B. Lens B is actually the Viltrox. Surprise! Yeah, well, are you surprised or was this expected? So let me give you my short conclusion and you can type in, you know, your opinion on which lens you prefer. Personally, I think the Viltrox 23mm F1.4 is a great deal, especially for the price and the build quality. It's very sharp. Focus is acceptable. Continuous AF is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. I know some of you guys want to know which one I prefer. If I wouldn't have these lenses, I would go for the Viltrox. And there are some reasons to it. First of all, it's a little bit faster, 1.4. That does mean that you can shoot low light photos using the fujinon. I did use this in Osaka, for example, during a firework. And it was amazing for that. You know, focus was accurate and fast. But I was raising the ISO at a level that I was just comfortable enough. You know, I wish I could have lowered the ISO. In that case, the Viltrox would probably do a better job. And I mean, in terms of size, yeah, the fujinon is bigger, so it's not like, maybe it's not the best street lens, but if you carry like an X-H1 or X-T4, it's not a real street camera. Come on, you should get this if you want to be stealthy on the street. So even if you use this on an X-H1 or X-T4, X-T3, it's not really a compact system. So whatever, just slap this on and benefit from the wide aperture. Some downsides I haven't talked about is the heavy vignetting using 1.4. It is noticeable, it is strong. Does it concern me? No. You know, sometimes, I mean, a lot of the times when I shoot 1.4, I'm highlighting a subject and then, you know, I would probably put vignetting afterwards in post anyways. So it's not really that big of an issue for me. Once you stop down to 2.8, it's not that noticeable anymore. That's about it. I think the rest, okay, purple fringing, it's acceptable. It's bad, but acceptable. So that concludes my final opinion on this lens. I really like it. I love it. I'm going to use it on my X-H1 for photos, for video, for YouTube, for streaming. If you're interested in getting this lens, I put some links in the description. And Viltrox actually gave me a coupon code. So if you go to these links and there's also a code, you get like 15 euros or $15 off. So if you want to get one, you can use these links. And yeah, let me know your thoughts if you own this lens, how you like it. And if you prefer the fujinon, let me know as well. I think it's a great lens. It was my favorite Fuji lens until I dropped it. Okay, I think I talked enough. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed this comparison. There will be another comparison video coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And I see you in another video. Bye bye.